Right, what I want to do, you see, it is so easy to get into all the negative stuff. I think that all of us in this room know a very great deal about all of the things that I put down on the left side of the board yesterday, the hierarchical model, which is the form of relationships of somebody up and somebody down, and the variations of those, and of the ways in which we limit and deprive ourselves through our ideas about what we should be, and that we're too much of what we are and aren't enough of what we should be. Ways in which we seek for the linear answer, the one right way, and how we try to keep the status quo, which I mentioned yesterday, in whatever way you think about it. So we end up, as people, not having access to our energies, not having access to and the freedom to take risks and all the rest of that. All right. Now, what I've been doing now for a long time is how now to take whatever it is that we learned and to be able to go to making us feel whole about ourselves, whatever that is. When that happens, then life takes on a totally different look. Now, there are some books here, and I don't want these stepped on. Whose books are these?
They haven't come back yet.
Okay, well, they'll be surprised when they come back.
Yeah.
But then world moves when I'm away from it. Have you noticed that? And maybe this could be picked up too. All right. What I'm also saying is we could dwell on all of the effects of what I just was talking about. I'm too much of something and should be something else, etc., etc. We can dwell on those effects, but we know what those effects are. That's no secret. And we know that we have been through many years, I would say from about the 30s to the 80s, about 50 years of working on how to get rid of the problems. Okay. That has never done much for enhancing life. To get rid of the problem is not necessarily going toward health. You just don't have to deal with the problem. Okay. So now we are into, is there some way, given whatever it is that we grew up with, because I've never found anybody who had a perfect growing up. I just don't exist. Find lots of people with great intelligence, good feeling, lots of good intentions, and goodwill. There are lots of people around like that. So what can we do to enhance, to use ourselves to enhance life, rather than just to make it problem-free? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the absence of war is not the same as peace. The absence of problem is not the same as joy in life. Now, the therapies have traditionally been connected with just trying to get the absence of problems, and not very much about joy of life. That has not been part of the psychotherapeutic armamentarium. And I think that it needs to be. So when we're talking about families, so when we're talking about pairs, talking about how pairs can be different and how life can be different, we have to look at, I don't know about anybody else, but I have to look at how life can be enhanced. And where there's humor, and where there is joy, and when you have pain, it goes someplace. Do you realize how much pain there is in the world that does not take us anywhere? People just endure it. But if we're going to have pain, let us take it someplace. Let us have it come out with something. So, all right, now I want to do again something here. Now I'm going to do this quickly. I'd like to take the three of you, and let's see, and the four of you right over here. Then I'd like to take the three of you, 4, 5, 6 of you over here. Over here. You, the 6, the other 6 over here, and the others over here. Okay? Pardon me? No, not at the moment. I'm just in great shape. No, I wouldn't even have hands to do that. Okay. Come, Tom. All right, Tom, your universal father, universal mother. Okay? All right, you are the universal firstborn. Firstborn. You're the universal secondborn. You are the universal fourthborn. You are the universal fourthborn. Okay? All right. Now just be down. You be down a little bit there like that. Okay? Now here we have another universal father, and we have a universal mother, and we have a universal first, a universal first, second, universal first, third. Just go in front like that, and then down a little bit here, just kind of like that. Universal first, fourth, and first, fifth. Okay? All right. Now, maybe you'll back up a little bit because I don't have room to move here. Back up just a little bit. Now, I would like to take you and you. What you may have to do is just sit down for a minute where you are, and then you can stand up. Come here. That's okay. Now, I'd like you to be at this end and lay down. You're a baby that has just come in the world. You go over there and lay down. Okay. Now, everybody you see here, standing here, came in like this. Babies. When we meet them as our parents, we meet everything that they have learned. Everything they have learned physically, how to treat their bodies, how to treat themselves, how to treat others. We meet them with what they have learned about the language they speak, the foods they eat, the ways they discipline, the ways they worship their Creator. We meet them at that level. Okay. Now, everyone in this room, but certainly in this, started there. Now, when you look at this group right here, universal father, universal mother, universal father was a universal baby. And this is important to remember. That universal mother at this moment was also a universal baby. But when we see them now, we don't think of them in terms of baby. We're thinking of them as something that has already activated, like a mother is a mother is a mother. You know, Gertrude Stein used to talk about that. Okay. What's important to remember, and I don't know how, I'll say it and then you'll decide how much you want to put it in your consciousness. Every adult reflects only their experiences of what they've learned. Only that. And the basic experience they represent are the solutions to the triangle, to the triad. And that governs everything about relationships to other people. Okay? All right. Doesn't govern what you eat, but it governs how you deal with your gender and with others. All right. Now, if you can see that every one of these kids is a part of this triad, and that is also part of the learning. All right. Now, at a moment in time, a male from here and a female from here, because these families are all over the world, come to make a new, come on up here. All right. It so happens that these two meet, and they now are forming a family that has the same ingredients in it. Somebody who is a bearer of a sperm and somebody who's a bearer of egg, ova. Okay? Passing on whatever it is they've learned, how they deal with the differences, and so on. Okay. Now that we know. And one of the things that we can take for granted, which I take for granted, is that every couple will have difficulties. Every couple will have difficulties. These two had them. These two had them. Why do they have difficulties? Because they're unique and they're different. The first uniqueness is in gender. Maleness and femaleness are not synonymous. They are not. Personhood is. But a male person has differentnesses from a female person. Not in feelings, but in physiology. I think you all know that. And whatever difference there is, other things have to follow. All right. Now the next differentness is that nobody lived identical lives. And so there will be different ways of approaching things. The differences are great. Even if you belong to the same religion or the same race or the same school, it guarantees nothing about sameness. I'm sure you recognize that. All right. There is differentness in pacing. Night people and day people is an example. There is differentness in relation to what one expects of life. Differentness in terms of how one brings together one's resources. All of these are differentnesses. Now, we can put into our hopper that differentness is a given about people. It's a given. And it is a given because we are unique. Depending upon how we view differentness is whether or not differentness works for us or against us. Most of us have used differentness to work against us, not for us. So when I say that every couple has to have, there are built-in problems. And they're built-in potential problems because, first of all, how people view differentness. The second one that's built in is, do you extend me or do you supplement me? And that has to do with the idea of loving. If you extend me, then when you go, I am only half a person. If you supplement me, then you've added something to me, and I am still whole when you leave. Okay? So how do people view that? Now there is one piece in Western culture, this is not true in other cultures, but it's certainly true in Western culture, and getting more true in others, is that we have a gonadic response that we put a lot of reliance on. That's the flapping of the gonads. And many of us have not distinguished between the flapping gonads and an ability to have a deep committed relationship. Because gonads flap at the slightest opportunity. Okay. And that means that we haven't worked out ways to look at the difference and the ways in which sex and love come together. We haven't done that. All right. Now, every couple then, I'm going to change this a little bit, has to do something about finding a place for the differentnesses and for those differentnesses to be able to flourish in a good way in that relationship. Okay? All right. In addition to that, their ways of handling the differentness will be what the kids get as far as their differentness is concerned. But let us look only now at the pair. These two are going to build on whatever they learned here. Okay, now I just want to do something. If you'll all stand up now, and I'm going to give you a few postures. I would like you to be standing up and you to be down, like you to be down with her, you to be with your father on this side. No, right over there pointing at your father. That's right. And you joining your sister and pointing at him. And you being over here on the side of your father. Okay? Now, you came out of this family, and I'd like you, both of you, to stand like sticks, facing each other a little bit, not too much. That's right. Stand like sticks. And I'd like this first one to stand like a stick. And I'd like the next two to be down on their knees in relation to father and mother. And the next one to have a blaming relationship to these two. You stand up, though. You could stand up to do that. I want you to go stand by your father on this side and give a point to your mother. That's right. Okay. And who are you? Oh, you're the baby. That's right. Okay. All right. Now, this represents, all of these postures represent the most negative messages about worth. Okay? Negative messages about worth. People didn't intend it to. Okay. Now, some of these are more benign than others. Now, like all this family at this moment, take these positions hard. And what I'd like you all to recognize, that these are some pretty basic things that we've learned. They do not affect the gonads. The gonads flop anyway and flip. They do not turn out the need for getting together, for wanting to be loved. That does not take away. These postures do not take away the wish to be loved, to be valued, for the gonads to flop. It doesn't take it away. What it does often do is to say to people, it's not possible. Now we have some inequality of something here. Now you can all rest so your arms don't hurt for a minute. We have something which is hope. Hope in people. Despite horrible odds, the hope is there. The hope is there every time a pair of people get committed, whether it's California-style significant othership, or whether it's marriage, New England style, there is hope. And what is the hope? The hope is that I will be able to transcend the negatives of my past. And that hope is so important. That is what helps us to take the risks that we need to take of, okay, I will try again. All right. Now, in that hope is hardly ever any experience. It's only a hope. In that hope is hardly ever any intelligence. It's hope. It could be different. And most every bit of that hope is based on the fact that I got somebody who will help me do it. That I'm entering into a partnership where my hopes can happen. Where I can have a nirvana. Where I can have someone who loves me. Where I can have somebody who is honest with me. Even if, with my own very eyes, I see evidence to the contrary, I still expect that. And this is the part that is so positive for us, the fact that there's hope. Now what we want to do is give hope intelligence, and we want to give hope an opportunity to have what it really is asking for. I have yet to find any couple anywhere in the world where a great deal of their hope was absolutely natural and what would fit an evolving human being, like the wish to be loved, the wish to be valued, the wish to be counted, the wish to be looked at. Those are all so human. And they're possible. They're absolutely possible. All right. So now, in turning this around a little bit, as we look at this family, just take that posture again, you take the posture again, remembering that instead of these being bad things, they only tell us what we had an opportunity to learn. That's all. And anything that's learned, we can put it, we can leave it there, and we can learn something else. We don't have to unlearn one thing in order to learn another. It doesn't have to work that way. So we don't even have to bother about all the things, about getting rid of the things we learned. What we have to do is learn what we learned, and then learn out of those things, the things we want to learn better, or new things. So, all right. Now, in the hearts and minds, I want to show you these families. If these people were able to show you what they all hoped for inside, let's see what this gang would look like if you were doing your hopes from each other. And you do your hopes from each other. What you would hope for. How that it would all look. That's right. Okay. These hopes are there. Now when you have the hope, there are some things about the hope. You have the hope, but you'll say to yourself, I couldn't have it. But that doesn't take the hope away. So the hopes are there. This is what makes it possible for me, I am certain, to be all over the world as I have been, because I know that the hope is there. If the hope wouldn't be there, there'd be no point in my coming. One of the sadnesses I have is that so many of the therapies have not bought into the hope. They bought into the despair, and they bought into the deprivation, and they bought into the problem-free aspect of that. I did once, but I know that's not where it is, at least for me. The hope is there. How can we give the hope intelligence? How can we give it a chance? All right. Well, one of the ways we can give it a chance is to look around and to see what's already there that's useful. What's already there that's useful. Because everybody has it. Everybody has it. All right. Now I'm going to come back to these two people that came together here, where I had you, and you can love yourselves there if you want. Come here. It's a nice thing. I wouldn't pass up any opportunities. Now these two come together with the hope, and in their Western couple, their gonads are flapping. They have all kinds of fantasies about the lovely, both the sexual and the romantic. That's all there. And what they have, which they don't know, are ways of defeating themselves, which do not fit in this picture. That's where we can make hope with intelligence. Okay. The hope.
Sit down, or do you need?
Pardon me?
Can they sit down?
Yeah, they can sit down now. That's good.
Sit down on the floor.
That's right. Sit on the floor because you're still a family, and be comfortable. You know, have fun. So we can give people an awareness in a good way about what they've learned. I can learn about this. It's all right. I find myself doing this because I learned it. That's how I learned it. And I'm working on automatic. Do you know how much behavior is automatic? Okay. All right. Now, we can take a look at this moment in time, whatever that is. Say, okay, you have learnings. You have learnings. And some of those learnings get in the way with you. And some of the ways in which you would like each other to be maybe aren't coming off right now. But let's now take a digression and look at individual by individual what you've got, what you have got. You can't look at a pair, what they got. You've got to look at it each one, because it's in this funny way, a pair has no existence by itself. It is made up of two existences who have worked out something with each other. And that's why we can say there's a pair. Okay? Are you with me?
Sure.
All right. Now, what I did on this level of things is I worked out something that I called a parts party. Parts party, for you to get acquainted with your parts. Now, I also was aware that if couples know how to do it, they can develop all kinds of things that never existed in their own families. All kinds of fun and all kinds of other things that never existed in their own families. They allow themselves to do it. So I tried to find ways to pique the humor, to be able to excite the people about what they have, and then to work out some ways in which this can just keep on going. And so I like to now work this out with first you and then you as yourselves, okay? And then let's see what happens with the rest of you. So we're going to do a parts party. And first of all, I'm going to give you the basis of this, and then we'll also see where we go with this. Remember, this part is now to activate, to make alive the new possibilities. It's like there was a road over here and a road over there, and we're going to make a new road. We're not going to say that road isn't any good or that one isn't. We're going to make a new one that fits us. And if you follow the analogy of this, what I'm saying to them, they can make new roads without any reference to the old ones. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to have all the new things related to the things we already have. We sometimes do it in our mind, but we don't have to. So then in a way, a couple has a chance for a brand new road to develop that fits only the two of them, that can represent their health, that can give their hope intelligence and form. Okay, so, all right. Well, why don't I start out with you, and then later we'll do something with you, okay? The parts, okay. Is that all right with you?
Yes.
All right, I want to be sure. Yes?
Ayana.
Ayana, okay. All right. So now if we can put this part to sleep for a minute, I would like to say we all come to a part, to our pairs. And remember, whatever I say about any heterosexual pair is true about any pairs. Sibling pairs, heterosexual pairs, homosexual pairs, lesbian pairs, doesn't matter, because the ingredients of pairing are the same. The functions sometimes differ, but the ingredients are the same. And so what's behind
Ayana.
Ayana? What's behind Ayana are all the experiences that she had with all of you and what she now has in her consciousness and what's also in automatic right now. That you have. Okay. And you have the same. All right. But now what we're going to look at is this new road for you. By going into parts of yourself that you may never have known were there. Now, one of the ways I do that is I try to have a dramatic form, and I try to have it have fun, and I find that the things that have the most fun are the most profound. I don't know if you've noticed that. Anyway, so now here you all are, and you have done your work for now. So wherever you would like to be at this moment's all right. If you want to stay here, that's fine. If you want to go someplace else, that's fine. Well, okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do, first of all, is going on the principle that we have many parts we haven't noticed. And so I'm going to ask Ayana to give me the names of 6 people that when she thinks about them, she gets all juicy inside, or she gets feelings of horror. So, and these can be, because this is part of the dramatic form and the fun, these can be famous people. They could be in fairy tales, in the funny paper, in history, in the movies, in literature, sports, wherever it is, in the people that most everybody knows, that when you think about them, your juice just flows, or your hair stands on end. You know what, let's put this down here. It's easier for me. Somebody just put it down here. So let's see. These are going to be the guests to the party. Okay, can you see now? Jesse, can you see? All right, so who comes to mind?
Let's start with the juicy ones first.
All right, put that up close and put some oomph in it.
Robert.
Robert who?
Robert Northern.
Robert?
Northern.
All right, I don't happen to know Robert Northern. Is he a famous person?
No, he's my husband.
Okay, all right. He's famous to you,
Yes.
all right? Robert? We'll put Robert there. Who else?
Edwin.
Who is this?
Edwin is someone that I feel very warm about. It's a favorite uncle.
All right. Edwin. Okay.
Do I have to do 3 or 6 of the...
Well, I want 6 altogether.
Okay.
What makes it possible, if you can think of prominent public names, is then the role players get a chance to tune into this, although it is not necessary.
Okay. Let's see. Who would I think of? The next person? I'm having trouble with people that make me feel warm and oozy.
Yeah?
Maybe I should go to the other people. This may not be a good idea, but Ronald Reagan.
I don't have any objection.
No, that's not warm and oozy, no. Let's see, another person. This is hard. James.
James who?
Cheek.
Okay. All right, we take James.
He's sort of famous to some people anyway. And, let's see, Eugenia Watkins, that's somebody that's famous to me. I'm having trouble with people
Okay,
that are...
okay, it's all right. Let's see. We have
Okay,
5
that's
now.
a warm person. All right. Or the other kind of people. I'm having a block here.
So
No.
these will be Ayana's people, not anybody else's.
Oliver.
Oliver, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Oliver.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm going to ask you, what's the adjective that pops out in your mind when you think of Robert? This Robert.
The adjective is affection.
Affectionate, okay? And what about Edwin?
Special.
Pardon me?
Special.
Yeah, how? Because we're going to have role players show this.
Okay. Sensitive.
Sensitive.
Yeah.
All right. And Ronald Reagan?
Cold-blooded.
Okay. Okay. And James?
Selfish.
Okay. And Eugenia?
Loving.
And Oliver?
Narcissistic. Is that...
He's sort of like James. Well, let's put him down here. All right. Now, I'm going to I have a hunch it's up here. But, no, not there. I'm going to ask you, how would you feel about inviting Plato to your party?
Be fun.
What adjective would you give Plato?
Brilliance.
We will invite Plato. All right. There could be many more, but we'll do with these. Now, I would like to find out from you if you consider affectionate positive or negative.
Positive.
Do you consider sensitive positive or negative?
Positive.
Do you consider cold-blooded positive or negative?
Negative.
Do you consider selfish positive or negative?
Negative.
Loving?
Positive.
Narcissistic?
In this case, negative.
Brilliant?
Positive.
All right. Now what I'd like you to do is to think of times when affection can be negative. You think some?
Yeah.
All right. I'd like you to think of sometimes when sensitivity could be negative.
Yes.
Okay? I'd like you to think of sometime when cold-blooded could be positive.
I can think of times when that would be positive. Could
Okay?
be.
And sometimes when selfish could be positive.
Yes.
And sometime when loving could be negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. And narcissistic could be positive.
Yeah. No, she's right. Narcissistic.
Could
being
be positive. She put it as negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? And where brilliant could be negative.
Okay. Yes.
All right. What did that feel like to you when I went through it this way?
It made me look at it from the other side. And in my mind, I was going through situations with each one where they could be experienced in the opposite way.
Okay. All right. Now, would you pick out of this group? See, we'll probably get that done just before lunch. Would you pick out your Robert? If the real Robert is here, don't pick him out.
No, he said. Out of our group here?
Yeah, here, this
The
group.
whole
Right?
large
These are
group?
the only ones we got.
Oh.
Pick out your Robert.
Well, why don't you be Robert? Can I do that?
That's very interesting. Well, let's do that. That's okay. And you are?
Joe.
Joe, all right. So Joe is going to be Robert. And Pick out your Edwin.
Tom.
Do you accept? You accept, Tom? All right. All right, will you pick out your Ronald Reagan?
This is really difficult. Who would I pick out for Ronald Reagan? How about you in the back? I don't know your name. Yeah, yeah. Nothing personal. I'm just arbitrarily doing this.
Want to say your name to everybody?
Lewis.
Lewis. I forgot whether that's L-E-W or L-O-U.
A-W.
And James?
Peter.
Peter? And Eugenia?
Gwen.
Gwen?
Yes.
Okay. And Oliver?
Oliver. How about you? Myrna? Is it Myra? Myrna? Myrna. Okay.
I just figured out something, Iana, and that is Joe can't be in this one because I need him for his own parts party. So will you get a different Robert?
Okay. Yes. Oh, let's see, a different Robert. I don't know if this is fair, but the person I'm drawn to is Morris, I think. Is that,
Morris?
yeah.
Well, if he says yes, that's, I think, fine. Morris? You're Robert, all right. And what about Plato?
Plato. This is not easy. Tammy, would you be Plato?
Is that Tammy?
Tamara.
Tamara. It'll be a little bit hard, I will tell you, to look like Plato, because you're female.
Should I get a male? Okay.
You'll have another chance.
We have a female Oliver, too.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
You
then I
want
want
me
to
to keep
change
them in
that.
gender?
That's right. Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. Would you be Oliver and let's see, who can be Plato?
Let's say your name again.
Craig.
Which
Craig.
one?
Yeah. Craig. And who did we get for Plato?
Plato. This man back here, with the, yeah. He looks like he could be a Plato.
You can play Plato, okay?
Yeah.
And your first name?
John.
John. All right, okay. Okay. Now, would you, we have a few minutes before we're going to go to lunch, would you state some things about Robert? So, because when these people are going to kind of impersonate them at the beginning.
Okay.
There's Robert.
Robert is a very affectionate person. He's also a very spiritual person, which was why I associated to you. Let's see, very creative, a warm person, but also can be very stubborn, passive-aggressive at times.
Okay. All right. Now, give something about what he does in life, so he'll have some basis for dialogue and what he does in life and so on.
What he does in life?
Yeah,
Did you
how
say-
he makes his living and how he plays and.
He makes his living as a musician and an educator, teacher.
He teaches music or teaches school?
Teaches music, teaches school sometimes, courses related to music.
Oh,
in
okay.
school.
All right. What does he like to eat?
He loves spaghetti.
He loves spaghetti. Okay. Is there something, some kind of a feeling about him that comes across with a favorite song, or you think about him doing an Italian restaurant, or what's some of these nice little pictures that come out about Robert?
Oh, let's see. He loves all kinds of music, but especially loves music of different cultures all over the world. And his favorite pastime would probably be to make anything play like an instrument. His hobbies would probably all be related to something to do with music, playing music, thinking about it, writing it. Oh, he loves to travel and would probably love to be anywhere where there's warm weather and water.
Okay. If he has a little idiosyncrasy, what would it be?
He likes to keep little piles of things everywhere. Little
Good. All right, okay, all right. Okay, that's fine. That gives you a kind of a picture that we need. And let's see if we can, got one more, then we'll finish the rest after lunch. Could you tell Edwin something about him?
Okay.
By the way, is he related to you?
Yes.
Who is he?
He is my uncle.
Uncle, is he related to your father's brother, your mother's brother?
He is my mother's brother, my mother's second brother.
Mother's second brother.
Right.
All right. So tell Edwin something about what he's like.
Okay. Edwin is very self-confident. He is very sensitive, but at the same time is able to draw the line. Always made me feel like he really appreciated me. I felt like I was his special niece. That's why I liked him.
Now, what does he do for a living in his life?
He's electronics. He's in electronics. That's really all I can say about what he does for a living.
If you were to plan a party for him, what kind of activities would you plan?
There would be lots of music, and there would be dance. There would be lots of conversation around and good food. People who were very warm, who liked to mix and mingle and talk about all kinds of different things. So there would be dancing, but there would be lots of conversation going on all at the same time.
What's one of his little idiosyncrasies?
Ooh, let's see. His idiosyncrasies would have to do with being very compulsive. He's extremely orderly, very neat sort of person.
All kinds of things live within us. Okay. Now, it's 12 o'clock right now. Can you remember where you were? And you remember what you got? And you remember where you were when we come back? And the rest of you remember that you were up here? Okay. All right. So what we will do is we will close this part now so we get out to lunch at a proper time and get back here at 2 o'clock. Mike, if somebody's got some tape or something, that we can put that over there. So I wanted to have this side by side with what I'm going to do now. This represents Ayana. Where are you, Ayana? There you are. And the 7 people, I think, that are parts of what she's going to be working with. Now I want to do something similar for Joe, and I want to show you how this works, individually and pairwise. Did anybody find any, Morris, have you got any tape? Would you tape that up to that on one side so I can put the two together? Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm an actor, and you're making an actor's work.
Yeah, I want to put 2 of them up there. So, okay, so this is for Joe now. You can leave that up there if you want, but anyway,
Well,
Joe.
I may have to read the rest of it.
All right, but I want to put 2 up there with some space in between. Okay. All right, now, Joe, would you think of people, and it'll make it more interesting for us, perhaps, if you can pick up public people anywhere, that when you think about them, they make your hair stand on end or make you feel juicy.
Do they need to be evenly split?
Go ahead and tell me who you got.
Okay. Jesus.
Jesus, right? Okay. Fine.
Tom Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson. Okay.
Jenny,
Who?
my wife. She's not as famous as some of the others.
Okay.
Gaddafi.
Let's see, that's K.
It's G, I think.
Gaddafi. G-A. Huh? Q-U-A-D. Q-U-A-D-A-F-F-I. That's right. Gaddafi.
Glory King. I got someone who can play her for you. Okay. Paula Hawkins.
Okay. Now, will you give me the first adjective, the main adjective that comes when you think Jesus?
Whole.
Hope?
Whole. W-H-O-L-E.
Whole. All right. And Tom Jefferson?
It's not a Renaissance. The Renaissance man is the way I
I know,
think
but
of
what
it.
adjective is that?
That's
What adjective stands out?
yeah, that is a
This
good
is
one.
Joe, not you. When you do your parts, you'll do it. But now Joe's doing it.
I am going to take it though. I like that. Versatile.
What is?
Versatile.
Versatile. All right. And Ginny?
Loving.
Okay. And Gaddafi?
Horrible.
Horrible. All right. What kind of horrible?
Vicious.
Vicious.
That's a good one.
Glory? King?
Supportive.
And Paula Hawkins?
Loosely wrapped.
What? Say it again.
Loosely wrapped.
Loosely wrapped.
Incompetent.
In what?
Incompetent.
Incompetent.
This is my senator.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Will you pick out your Jesus? And if you got a part in the Giannis family, don't go with this one because you won't be able to do it.
How about this gent right here? You look like a good.
Glenn, didn't I see you coming up here? All right, let's get your Tom Jefferson.
You want to keep these sexes straight.
Yeah,
as
I
understand.
go always in line with the genitals. I don't fiddle with that.
Tom Jefferson, huh? Tom Jefferson. I don't know any of these folks, so I'm having to just do what feels right.
Well, you just let your radar go out. And
How about this
it'll come
fella
out
back
with
here?
something. Where? All right. It looks like Donnie from here, is it?
Okay, I need someone to play my wife here.
Yes.
Would you?
And who did you find?
Sandy.
Sandy, all right.
Do I have any
And-
volunteers?
Gaddafi.
Good.
Bob? All right, get Glory. Glory, Joe?
I'd like Ginny to play Glory since she knows her.
Who?
Ginny.
Why don't you leave your wife out of this?
Okay.
That's so that she can be an observer.
Okay. With this lady here, have you been selected already? Are you on the other team? No, this lady right here. Would you play, Glory?
And say your name?
I'm Dorothy.
Dorothy. And Paula.
No offense, whoever I choose here. Boy, everybody's averting their eyes. Have you been selected for anything? No, okay, come on, you can beat Paul.
Who are you getting? Paula,
I'm
okay.
getting
And say
Myrna.
your name? Myrna. Myrna. That's right. We were going to fix that up, weren't we? All right. Now, you gave some adjectives here, and I'm going to ask you your first round to tell me whether you rate these positive or negative. Whole.
Positive.
Versatile.
Positive.
Loving.
Positive.
Vicious.
Negative.
Supportive.
Positive.
And incompetent.
Negative.
All right. That's first time around. Now, can you think of any kind of situation in which wholeness would be negative?
He had a real bad day once, so yes.
You can? Can you think of any time when versatility could be negative?
Yes.
All right. Can you think of any time when loving would be negative?
I have to stretch it.
But can you do it?
Yes.
Can you think of any time when viciousness would be positive?
Yes.
Can you think of any time when supportive would be negative?
Yes.
Can you think of any time when incompetency would be positive?
I don't think so.
Think again. You can only
Somehow
find
I knew
one
you were going
time-
to say that.
Huh?
Somehow I knew you were going to say think again.
Yes. So even if for one time, incompetency could be positive.
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. All right. Now, I want now for you to be over on this side and for Yana to be over here and bring your characters with you. I think we're going to have a little more space here. Now, let me just share with you, first of all, something. Would you come out here? Both of you are owners of these parks, okay? Now, let me tell you something I found out. Whoever it is, whoever you think of, when I ask who makes your hair stand on end and who makes you feel juicy, have a very special connection to you. Either on the basis of something that you would like, that you've experienced that want to get rid of, or that you have inside yourself that somehow makes a pull toward whatever that is. These adjectives are all something that fit inside of you some way. And one of the reasons that I ask for the positive and negative at the beginning, I'm going to show you that picture in the beginning, but in the beginning, we all are aware that there are many parts to ourselves, and that it's an easy thing to run through and to regard only those we feel are positive, and to set our foot on the things or sit on what we think is negative, okay? Well, we get into trouble that way, which I'm going to show you in a minute how you do that. If we can look at, and the reason for that is because we think one set is positive and one is negative, and if we can behave all positive, then what we can do is probably be okay. What we're doing when we do that is that we're robbing ourselves of all kinds of important energy that we need. And so, and recognizing also that nothing is static. Nothing is static. So it changes from time to time. So in one sense, there are plenty of us in the world who go around and we label all our adjectives. We say those are good, all the time good. And even when they're not good, we try to make them good. And so what we do is we rob ourselves without meaning to, okay? Because I have a hunch that none of us are really free unless we can accept everything about us. If we have to sit on any part of us, we're not free. All right. Now, in order to make this picture, I'd like to start off over here, and let's take a look at your Jesus. Jesus, would you come here? Now, Jesus, what kind of a gesture are we going to give him that will represent his wholeness?
I think you should put your hand over your heart.
Okay, runs around with his hand over his heart. Okay? Let's see what happens with that. Now, what we're into at this moment, and what I'm trying to be into, is to give each of these parts a real life in the body of each one of us. So if he goes around with his hand on his heart, it'll be interesting to see what other people make of that, your other parts. Okay, anyway, but that's where you start right now. Do you suppose it also has something to do with his wanting to make things right, or having ways to make things right? So maybe one of the things we could visualize you doing at the party is showing people that your heart is in the right place and trying to be helpful. You suppose that would fit?
Indeed.
All right, so we will extend that a little bit, and you're going to be helpful in all situations. All right, now let's go to Thomas Jefferson. How do we show that he's versatile? That means he can do anything at any point in time. How do we show that? How do we show how versatile he is? If somebody, by the way, is stooping down, would he show his versatility by holding the person on his lap? If somebody breaks a belt, would he fix it? How would he show that?
Yes, I would see him as a problem solver, not so much helping other people as people going to him for help.
So would you see him then sitting like a Buddha and waiting for people to come? What would you see him doing? How would you see him inviting people to come to him? Because nobody goes to anybody they're not invited to, some way. How would you see that happening?
Have this vision of opening a door.
Well, let's now think at the party. Would he be doing all kinds of things to facilitate people's getting together, opening the doors for where they want to go, and giving them drinks and things like that?
Indeed, and also fixing the fuses when the lights go out.
Okay, or in case we have lights go out, you will be there to fix things. That's what it amounts to. In a good way, you're going to be a fixer. Whatever you can find. Now, let us extend that to some of the some of the women look like their hose are sagging, would you try to pull them up and things like that? Wherever you can see something that needs fixing, show that you can fix it. Okay, that will be good. And if you're clever and observe, you'll find lots of things that'll need fixing. All right, now let's come to Ginny. Where are you? And let's see how she shows her loving part. How does she love? How does she do that?
By touching.
Okay, so you will go and you will be hugging everybody.
Right.
Hugging
Especially me.
Especially you. Well, you aren't going to be there for this party, so you'll just watch it. So you will be hugging everybody. Your arms will be open to have people come in. All right, now let's see about Gaddafi. How do we show his viciousness?
You don't have any fangs, do you? that would be nice. You should be. You should have clenched fists and growl.
You think you want to be stamping out things, getting rid of things?
Yeah. And just generally making trouble also.
You know how to do that?
Every time Tom Jefferson tries to fix something, you unfix it, right?
Okay, that's very good. Okay, we got that going. Now let's see about Glory. Where are you, Glory? Glory, now how will she show her supportiveness?
Okay, she is a facilitator. She is a complete facilitator. So, you should, when Tom and Gaddafi fight, you should facilitate. And when
does that mean peacemaking?
Yes, I think.
All right. So whatever anything goes on that looks at all like it needs to be, that it's inharmonious, you run in and make peace.
Okay.
Whatever you have to do, and you may have to work hard at that in this group. Okay. Now let's just see about the incompetent. What are we going to? Let's have Myrna. All right. How does she show her incompetence?
You have to have a lot of bad ideas.
Well, her bad ideas will be in her head, and maybe she will give out some of them. But what gesture would she use to show her incompetency?
Oh, you could trip a lot too.
Oh,
She
that's
does that
good.
a lot too. Yeah, you could trip a lot, and you could literally stumble into situations that you don't know anything about. And that's
Okay, all right. Now you all got your gestures. Now I'm going to go over here to Oyana, and let's see. Now let's pick up her Robert. Where is her Robert? All right. Now will you give him a gesture that shows his affection, his affectionate part?
You will touch and smile in a very loving way. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Okay, that's where we have that one. Now let's look at the next one, and that is sensitive. Edwin, where are you? How will we show his sensitiveness?
You have always just the right words to say. You'll be able to come in and you'll be able to, all right, thank you. You'll be able to come in and say just what people are really feeling and thinking, and just make them feel good, feel better.
How will he show that in his gestures?
Oh, let's see, a gesture. I'm not sure. Maybe you'll walk around and I don't know, be talkative or something. I'm having a hard time with a gesture for that. Maybe you'll just kind of embrace people, just gently, just enough to make them feel they're taken care of in a way.
Okay, so that piece would be shown with his hands and his
Yes.
readiness to move out.
Yes,
Okay, all
yes.
right. Now let's look at a cold blood.
Yes, cold blood.
Ronald Reagan, cold blood. How do you show his cold-bloodedness?
He will walk around stomping like a warmonger. That's how he will show that.
All right, stamp on everything that you can.
That's right.
Especially if it looks good.
That's
Good, okay? All right. Now let's look at James.
selfish.
And how will he show his selfishness?
James his behavior will be one of always making sure that he gets Let's say if there's a plate of nuts or something, yeah, he'll grab his first.
Oh, that's good. So he's
Yeah.
always taking it and pushing somebody else away.
Yeah, taking more than
All
his
right,
share.
that's fine. Now let's look at the next one, which is Eugenia. Where are you?
Here
And
she
she
is.
is loving. How does she show her lovingness?
She is. She has all the advice in the world. But she's also a toucher, so she will embrace you and hug you in a very maternal way a lot. So that's what you'll do.
So she's got her arms out ready for that,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
All right, now let's see about Oliver. Oliver is what you call narcissistic.
Yes. Oliver will talk about me, my.
And will he show his body off all the time?
Yeah, he'll
Look at me.
Yeah.
That kind.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Very good. Look at
Chest
me.
out, that's right. That's right.
All right, that'll do for
You
now.
got it.
Now let's get to Plato, who is very brilliant. How will he show that?
He will always have these special, super intellectual words of wisdom, but never, your posture is good even, never touching, just standing from afar. Mostly with your words, you'll express this brilliance. Is that?
Well, he's going to have a book on his head, you think? Or one under his arm?
Oh, okay, yeah, let's give you a book in hand, always. On one hand, you'll always have a book with you, yeah.
Here's one. Carry two. All
That's
right.
a good one.
Okay, all right. Now let's just finish something that we started this morning. We got through Edwin, and we know about Ronald Reagan. How about James? Do you want to give him some kind of picture of his life?
Okay, well,
Where's James? Here.
yeah, what's difficult about this is that I don't know James personally, but James is the sort of person who probably is more focused on taking care of himself and maybe doesn't know about all the support he has around him.
What does he do for a living?
Administrates
What does he administrate?
an institution.
For what? Institution for what?
You're going to make me lose my job.
There's more than one institution usually, but is this for human services or whatever?
Yes, human services, an institution of health and education.
Okay, all right. So he plays the role of a big shot
Yes, you might say
with
that.
little shot techniques. Something like that?
Yes.
All right, okay. All right, okay. Now let us see if what we have to add for Eugenia. What about her? Did I miss one?
No.
No, Eugenia. What does she do for a living? Where does she, different things. So we get a picture of her.
Okay. She's a person who's very creative with hair and fashion and extremely resourceful. Very maternal, especially now. Almost like Earth Mother.
Is she still fooling around with fashions?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
one of the topics you'll probably talk about are fashions.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. What I'm trying to also get is some substance for the dialogue.
Okay. Yeah, she'll talk about what fits with what and your body type and she also will talk about your health and what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, exercise, all
That will
those
be
good
very
things.
useful at the party. And so in your lovingness, you will be able to say to people, you know, you really are wearing the wrong color. All right, now, so you kind of,
Ronald Reagan. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do,
Uh,
but do I need to know how she feels?
yes, that's good. How, would you give a picture of him about what he does? We know he's a president, so we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
What else do you want to give him about what he does?
What does he do in my mind? Acts well.
That's what everybody's mind.
Yeah. He is probably very unfamiliar with the world at large, most people, the common folk, perhaps. Not very, maybe not sensitive to them, not educated to them, and therefore not able to feel.
Wouldn't you
No.
imagine at this party he would be bragging about all the royalty he meets? Because this is going to be this part. then we'll see what else happens. And that he's going to be out there trying to convince everybody about how marvelous you are? Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, now let me see you, Jill. Where are you? And will you now, who's doing Jesus? Here's Jesus, right over here. All right. You know about Jesus, enough about his life and all that kind of stuff, so that you could talk about, you can talk about the dialogue, about all this. But is there something you'd like him to be especially aware of? What part of his life? Is he 12 now, or is he 33? Is he out saving
that's
people?
a good question. No, I don't think so. I think it's in the in-between years. I think early 20s, somewhere in there. Just becoming aware of his own predicament.
Well, all right. We'll see what happens. But one of the things is you'll uphold all of the things you told people later. Okay. Don't you think that's a good idea?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's see. And we have the next one, Tom Jefferson. Tom Jefferson, as you know, was one of our political people. You know him and know about him? Yes. And is there anything you would like him to know more about? Are you thinking about him as a signer of the Declaration of Independence? Will he come to this party and say, look, I got my guys together and we signed that document today?
No, I see him as much more than that. I see him as having not only been a politician, but an architect, engineer, botanist.
Will you see him at this party then? Could you imagine him at this party trying to tell somebody about the new architectural plans that he's found,
yeah,
the new
right.
slave quarters that he's built, and the new mistresses that he's found and all that stuff?
Part of the time.
Everything else. Versatile. Yeah, versatile. We'll see about that, because that was all part of it too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now let's get to Ginny. And Ginny here is, what does she do for a living?
She's a manager with IBM.
All right, so what does she do? Does she, what is she likely to deal with?
Well, she also works with a growth institute and facilitates.
Yeah, but in the
investment
IBM,
potential.
so that here she is at this
She
party.
deals with problems, of course, as managers do. She relates to people and attempts to provide an atmosphere in which they can get their work.
For instance, would somebody, customer, call up, and would they call up Ginny, and would they say, my computer doesn't work, the program doesn't fit, what are you going to do about it? Is it that?
Right.
Oh, marvelous. So you've got all the answers.
What do I do for fun, too?
What do you do for fun? Well, one of the things you do is the touching that we talked about. Other things, you travel. You're well traveled and well read, and
So she'd be able to talk a lot.
Good conversationalist.
She'd be able to carry on a conversation with
Tom
Jesus
Jefferson.
about the travels and about Tom Jefferson.
Except for the part about the. Right. Okay.
See, it's a very interesting thing. You all know Thomas Jefferson, and you must have read his biographies many times. He had all kinds of parts to him. He was a slave keeper. He had mistresses all over the place. He did all these other marvelous things for people. And I think it's important for us to realize that we're really always dealing with people. It's important. Okay. All right. So now let's see about Gaddafi. Let's come up here, Gaddafi. Now you know that you are the prime minister of some country. You know what it is?
Libya.
Libya, right.
Now you're Libyan prime minister. Okay. And is there something special you'd like him to know?
Yeah, I see you as being very willing to be the person who starts World War III.
Have to stand up for the downtrodden.
Right, particularly if the
Capitalists ought to know that.
That's very good. Okay.
Okay.
So, and you will have interesting dialogue with Jesus, I can tell. All right. Now, Glory King. Glory, where are you? Okay, Glory, you're a person who has an institute. You're somebody who has lots of creativity, and you get up and go, and you do all kinds of stuff. You want to add more to that? I know Gloria a long time.
Yeah, you're a friend of this lady's, and you work very, very closely with people one-on-one as well as in group situations, and you have a lot of energy. You have a tremendous amount of energy. Other people get tired sometimes watching your energy, right?
So you really move. You really move. All right, now let's look at Paula. What does Paula do in life?
She's a U.S. Senator.
U.S. Senator, okay. We're not probably far from you.
Yeah.
You're a U.S. Senator, so you will have at this party, what do you suppose you'll talk about? All the ways in which you resist the lobbies, ways in which you connect with other powerful people like yourself. What do you suppose she's going to talk about?
Yes, very, very phony. You need to get a nice smile, big, toothy smile. There, a little more.
Well, that'll be good. Then think of how that'll go with Jesus and Gaddafi. I think that's very interesting. All right. Okay. Now, what if you put this in a perspective now that all of these people have a meaning on some level to Joe, and all of the people over here have some meaning on the level. And all the people have some meaning on some level to Ayanna, all right? Now, first thing I want to do is I want to introduce the idea of our many faces. So, Ayanna, will you come here? Where are you? Here, all right? Now, you're the hub of this thing here. Now, I'd like all your parts to come and form a circle around her with your faces out front. Just form a circle around her, faces out front. Circle around her, faces out front. No, faces out front. Front.
This front.
Yep, that front, okay? Now, no, wait a minute. Let me move you out here because you're like a carousel. Your parts together here. Like a carousel. Now, each of these is a face in some way of Ayanna. Now, will you all take your gestures that you got? Now, you do it with yourself, not with anybody else, okay? Now, this carousel is going to move, just going to move and then stop. And what I want you to notice is whoever is in front of this particular face, that's the face of Ayanna at this moment in time in some form. The people that are watching her here will see one face. People that are watching her here will see another face. The people watching her there will see another face. So, I'd like you now, turning to the right, just now take a turn to the right. And we'll call this the many faces of Ayanna. Turning to the right. Turning to the right. Turning to the right. Turning to the right. Go around in a circle, turning to the right. All right, now stop. You all have seen many faces of Ayanna, okay? In her many different states. All right, now would you move over here just a little bit, and then would you scramble the people behind you, the parts all scramble behind you, and then Laurie, will you get the sheets? Okay. Now over here, Joe. Where are you? Now will all the parts come and do the same with him? You face outward, your shoulders together, but facing outward. Now take your gesture and very gently move to your right. Move and stop. Move and stop. This is Joe in his many faces. Move and stop. Move and stop. All right, now, these are the many faces of Joe. Let's stop for a minute now. And again, let's suppose the people over here had a chance to see only that this didn't turn. You just saw what you saw right here, and that's Joe. People over here saw what's there, and that's Joe. And people over there saw what was here, and that's Joe. And if we say to ourselves, like that beautiful thing about Thomas Jefferson, we should be one thing, which is what we try to do with people. We reduce them. Then, of course, we only make shells out of things, and we do not get to the essence of a human being. All right? So Joe has all these things. He has something that has to do with his wish for wholeness. He has something in which he admires versatility and probably has skill in doing things like that. He has something about loving. He also has something about viciousness, whether he's trying hard to stamp it out, to deal with it in himself, whatever it is. He has lots of supportive wishes, abilities probably, and so on. And he also knows how to be incompetent. We all know those kinds of things. All right. Those are, at this moment in time, what I would call our raw skills. All right, now let's look at Iana. Iana over here has her ability to be affectionate. She responds to that. She must have some in some way. And that she has sensitivity, a response to somebody else, both on the negative and the positive. She has some cold-blooded part. What does that mean? It may not be like Reagan. What it may be like is that at times she has to steel herself to do something that she doesn't want to do, that she feels she has to do. That's also a piece of that. Or that she has been subjected to that kind of a feeling, and whenever she sees it anywhere, she is so sensitive to it that it just absolutely paralyzes her. Some such thing as that. The interesting thing that I've noticed over the years is that the only adjectives that I give to anybody are what I apply to myself. Those are the only ones I know anything about. That's why I never want to have anybody else give the adjectives to the people that are doing the parties, because that's theirs, and it's not yours. All right, so she also has something in relation to her narcissism, whether that has to do with wanting things for herself and rules that she shouldn't ask for it. So a lot of times she does want to take the last piece of cake on the table, but doesn't because she thinks her mother will be upset. Or something like that. Or she has a sister that she was always having difficulty with, because the sister was always taking things away from her that she wanted herself. I don't know, but it has a meaning. What's interesting is all of these things are meanings on a top level. If I were to do a parts party with 12 people, which I could do, all of these are meaningful, every one of the adjectives. And probably there's many more than just that. But we tend, when I talk about the things that make you feel juicy and the things that make your hair stand on end, what we're getting are the extremes that we pay attention to. And it's a very nice kind of thing. All right. Now, I ask you to be up here. Now, where are those sheets? We got to have 2 sheet holders, 4 sheet holders. So I want to show you something now. 4 sheet holders. Who wants to be a sheet holder? All right, good. If you're about the same height, it will help. Well, can you find somebody your height? All right, good. Tall ones would be good. Now, I'm not going to say that I think short ones can't hold sheets. It's just that. All right, would you be here, a sheet holder? Okay. And you be here. Where's the other sheet holder? Over here. All right. Now, that's good. Now I need another sheet holder. All right, would you find a partner?
I don't have to be as tall. Okay.
Where's that other sheet?
Here it is.
All right. Okay. Now, for the people that really want to view, I think you should get over here somewhere and not be back there, unless you want to walk around a little bit. But I want you to see something. This is a decorative sheet. Come on, Joe, in the front here. All right.
Designer.
Yeah, designer sheet. All right. Now, if all the people that are here that are going to watch this are out over here where you really can see what's going on. And you can do that. Few people might not mind if you sat on their laps or something like that. Now, will you scramble back here in an order, one after the other? You scramble. And you do the same. but we have to have your heads not showing. You scramble and get into some kind of an order. Now it's your single order back here, straight back. Move chairs if you need to. Let's see what this is done here. When I have couples done all, that's fine, that's perfect. All right, now would you two go and stand over there? What we're looking at, what I'm looking at, is through the medium of this kind of a form, we're looking at the different kinds of combinations that can come out with this couple. All right. So, there's nothing that says that at a moment in time that we can predict what face will be there when they're all there. Okay? All right, so here's the pair now, and you remember who you are. You're Plato, I can see you coming. And over here is Paula. You remember Paula is the incompetent one, and Plato is the brilliant one. Now, so that when Joe's incompetence comes out and meets Myra's brilliance, let's see what that looks like. So would you come out and meet each other? You have to come around here. You with your that's right. Be back further, but you come out here more. You're meeting. It's a two meeting. But you're going to read your book, and she's going to be whatever she's doing. All right, let that fade and move back now to where you came from, back. Now I ask you, if you were a couple, have you ever noticed that between you? Okay, so we will just think about that for a minute, that you notice that sometimes you are feeling all fingers and thumbs and you're already there for a nice intellectual discussion. Okay, now there are challenges when those two faces meet. All right, now let's try the next one. You just come out in your pose. We find Jesus coming along with the Reagan. Okay, now let that fade for a minute. Now we would take a look at this. Now is Iyana's regression along, let us say, with Joe's wanting to be sweet and helpful. Can you imagine that combination coming together in a couple? All right, now you go back to where you went. Now we have the next pair. These are just different faces of the same one, doing what your gesture is about. Oh, yeah. Now what we obviously have here is a lovingness with somebody who wants the world to know how good he is. All right, now let that fade. Now, does that say anything to the two of you? All right, the next pair. Gaddafi? All right, now let that fade and go behind. Who are you? Who are you, Peter? Huh?
James Cheek, and I'm selfish.
Oh, James Cheek. Oh, okay. Go back to where you were over here. All right. Now, when those two sides are out, that calls for some different kind of connections, doesn't it? And challenges. All of these are human parts. All right. The next one, please. Now remember who this is? This is Tom Jefferson, who is looking for all kinds of ways to fix things. And here is someone who wants to be giving a lot to. Okay? All right, let that fade. Let that fade. Now hold this up. I think all of you have had a turn. Re-scramble. Re-scram. 2 more? Okay, let's have the next one then. Oh. When those 2 parts are together, no problem. Good. All right. All right, now let's see the next one. Next pair, because one has 6 and one has 7. So you will go out here alone, I think. And she's just going to embrace the world. Maybe she's all by herself at this point in time. Ayana's part, okay? All right. You like that? No. No. Okay. All right, now will you regroup back there, because you see we do not have an order of these things. They move in different ways. Now before I ask the next grouping, because you've reshaped back there, I'm going to ask you now, which one of these for you seemed to fit you well? Wait, here it is, yeah. As you looked at it.
They all did. They really.
Marvelous, okay, they all did. All right, now then some fit better than others.
Yeah, yeah.
If they fit now, these things happening between people does not mean that they have to have trouble. It only means that they now have to have really clear ways or useful ways to find a way of including and transforming what's going on. See, some were very easy. When Joe and Ayana were ready to open each other in loving ways, and they were both at the same place, that went very well. Then there was another time at which they were both at an aggression place. That was different, but it's still part of them. All right, so did you find anything that particularly stood out?
Oh, yeah, I'd have to say I saw myself in all of it. Some more than others. You want to know which ones?
Yes, why not?
It was interesting, the intellectual part and this part that wants to be loving and fix everything. Those were, I would say, the 2 outstanding ones, but they all were very significant for me.
Good. Okay. Now, what I want to do now, I do this 3 times with a couple. Suppose this is a real married couple. And we get play and fun and all the rest out of this, but I do it 3 times. Then we take a look at the ones that either are new, that they now know are there, or that have been there and are painful, and they haven't known how to go beyond them. So we just stop and we deal with all of this in terms of what it means. So you've reshaped now, so now we'll see the next set that's coming out. And who do we have here coming out? We have our Thomas Jefferson, who is wanting to fix everything up. And we have our, who do we have over here? Our Eugenia, who is trying to be loving. Did you ever see that combination? Okay. All right, so let this now move, and let's see what the next one is. Next one is Gaddafi coming out with Plato. Now, some aggression, and Plato over here being brilliant. Let's see if he can be brilliant.
Hit him with the book.
Now what's happening is Plato seems to be leaving his brilliance and going in for fisticuffs. All right, go ahead. Yeah. All right, let's see what the next one is. And here we have Robert. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fine, thank you. Okay.
There's lines in here.
That's right. And now the next pair. And we have Ronald Reagan this time. With his wanting to stamp things out. With Glory, who's trying to facilitate things. Now, you must all know this one. This is almost an archetype, where the male is in his aggression and the woman wants to mollify him. Looks like an archetype. Okay, now let's see the next one. And over here we have
It's Paula.
Paula and Edwin. Paula, who is tripping all over herself, and Edwin, who is sensitive to things. He tried to help her out, but he may also get sensitive in another way. All right? Okay, let's see the next pair. Hold the sheet up so you can't see the pieces behind it. Oh, that's pretty good. Jesus along with somebody who thinks well of himself.
I want that. I feel good. Boy, I feel good. Who are you? I feel good.
All right, let that fade. Now let's see what the next one is about.
Oh, we have an extra one over here.
Someone else?
We just have an extra.
Well, come on out, because you see, there's be nothing.
What you should be doing is this. That's not the way you should do it. By the way, can I borrow this for the next skit? Thank you.
Okay, all right. Now, what ordinarily happens, of course, is that somebody just comes out when these are here, because the parts aren't always of even numbers, of course. All right, reshuffle. Reshuffle back there. Now, what you saw this time, what really stimulated you?
The first thing that struck me and was really nice was that we again had this mutualness around the loving. I like that. But I saw all of it was very much stuff that I can identify.
And how about you, Joe?
Yeah, I'd have to say the same thing. It was amazing, the contrast from one extreme to another, depending on on which face was there at the moment.
See, again, part of our developing our sense of uniqueness is that we do have many faces. And later I'm going to show you how we can individually transform all these faces into useful parts for us. All right, so did you reshape again? All right, let's see what happens now. First one.
I feel good.
All right, let that fade.
Stand up.
All right, let's see the next one. Gail who? Gail Clymer. Okay. Now you can't tell whether they're dancing or what's going on. That's a good way that some people use to disguise what's really going on. All right, let that fade. That was beautiful. That's, by the way, something I've often seen, is the way that things can get disguised. Let's see what this is. Oh! Fine, okay, okay. Now let's see about the next pair.
Listen, I've got some ideas about how we could run this marriage better. I think you could be more efficient.
Well, I understand.
Would you work harder?
Let's
Are
think
you?
about alternatives.
Listen, I don't want to talk about alternatives. This has to be done this certain way. I'm sorry. It has to be. I'm not. Listen, I can't listen to this. I have an appointment in about 5 minutes with the board. Goodbye.
All right, is there another one? Another one?
You probably should have worn a coat today.
No. Two helpers here. All right, any more?
seem angry.
I want to employ you for the downtrodden in the world.
Well, how? You really feel angry? Really?
Well, why don't you? How come? What's wrong with you that you do not feel angry and you can tolerate this?
I want to help you.
I wish you would. You are a brilliant man. Let's employ yourself and do something.
You come to my office.
No, it's like a book. Why don't you do something?
All right, let this fade. Let this fade. Does that take care of everybody back there? One more, okay? Now, this time, there may be something different.
Very good. Yes, that is. Yeah, I agree. Oh, yes. Well, let's look at it again. No, let's, for instance, no. Let's go back to this. Come on. Okay, all right. If that's what you want, yes. I can understand.
Be reasonable.
Yes. It's absolutely, you're absolutely right. Yes.
All right, let that fade. Let that fade. All right, now you can see if you really wanted to bring the connections between people and looking at what they need to do to a level of where they can also do this with humor, here would be a good way to do it. There's humor there because there's a certain kind of thing that happens when you can bring things to the level of absurdity. Have you noticed that? That it bypasses defenses when you do it in a kind but funny way. Now, if this were a real couple, there would be several things that you would want to look at that you could be helped by. You could also see where the strength of your relationship is. Don't go away because I got more things for you. Where you would see the strength of your relationship is. And that you would see where the points are that are asking you to do things you're not yet ready, haven't done. Because these are all parts of you. Okay. Now, one of the things I like to do is for people to have fun with what they're doing and learning. Okay. Now, let me show you now another picture. And I would like, we're going to, Laurie, would you bring the ropes out? I'll do this, and then we'll have a break, and then we can come back, because I want to just give you some images here.
Where do you get the people from?
I do this in groups. And one of the things is, see, I don't know where you are, but a lot of the people that I've worked with who have private practices and work in agencies bring their people together like once a month or once every 2 weeks, all the people they're seeing, and form a group. And then they can do these kinds of things with it. Or, if you want to, you can bring in other people. You can bring people in off the street if you want, when you want to do these kinds of things. But I find, and many of my colleagues find, that by introducing the people to come together in groups, like for a whole day, once every 2 weeks or once a month, and do these kinds of things. You can also do them on paper in your head if you've got good visualizers, but it isn't as strong, although I suppose you could make it if you wanted to. But you see, this is a form of looking at integration with hope.
Did you get the couple to do it in a smaller scale themselves by playing the different adjectives?
Yep, you can do that too. You can do that too. You can have, for instance, you could have Ayana do all these different ones. You could have the list here, and you could have her do her. Let me see what you could have her do. Let's say her selfishness. Let's have her. I mean, she's always bringing things to her and pushing him away. And then what you could do, you could be playing your one over here, your versatile part, where you wanted to really fix her up and maybe bring her more or something of that sort. So you could act it out on that way. Then you could use the paper. And then the people could show their gestures and see what happens. And you could get to another version of it that way. So that's another piece of that. But all right. And let's take Joe first. Joe, would you come, with all Joe's parts, would you come up here? Now, according to what Joe told me at the beginning, Jesus, would you please stand up for everybody to see? Just come around and stand in the center right there, just right. And Tom Jefferson, would you stand there straight, because you're very positive. And Ginny, would you be there, very loving? Not in a row, that's right, kind of making a core, that's right. And Gaddafi, would you lay down on the floor? I mean, no, do like so. Go down on hands and knees so your back is up so that somebody's going to sit on you pretty soon. And supportive, will you make that standing up? Supportive, that was Glory. And now Paula, you were listed as negative, so would you get down beside of him? All right, just close together. All right, close together. Now, all of you who are standing, will you sit on them? Sit on them. All right, now just be careful. They're sitting on them. Now, the symbolism of this is, these are parts of me I don't want to own. And I'm trying to behave. Let's come over here, Joe. I'm trying to behave like they don't exist. Now, because I do that doesn't mean that they don't exist. Now, let me show you some things that can happen. Because those parts are down there, they still have life. And what they're going to do is reach up and pinch who is on the top. And while those that are on the top will try to look as though nothing is happening. So what you need to do is pinch until something happens from the bottom. In the meantime, you try very hard to make believe it isn't there. Let's see what happens. And watch. Now this is what anxiety is about. And how could you be, yes, how could you be integrated under those? Now, the minute that we are able to acknowledge the existence of all our parts, all that pinching stops, because now you get up to acknowledge I have all these parts. Now that's a new thing for you to be up. But the whole idea, as far as I'm concerned, in symptomatology is we're sitting on parts of ourselves that we will not acknowledge, and that pinching is going to go on until we do it or die. So now you're all together at this point in time. The pinching doesn't go on, but you're certainly not really, you don't know these people very well. You don't know these parts. It's like the first time that a person gets introduced to their aggression. Or to with my Israeli friends, when I did so much work in Israel, there was always a Hitler in every Israeli's parts party. And I said, how could that be? And they said, don't you know, Virginia, we all have a Hitler that we need to do something about? That we have these dark sides. And so anything that we try to hide, we cannot kill any parts of ourselves. We can only hide them and make believe that they're not there. The cost is very great. And so now, in this one, admitted acknowledgement is there. Yes, I do have a part that is critical. I do have a part that is angry. I do have a part that is revengeful, whatever it is. Now some air comes, and for the first time, we can take the first step toward transformation. As long as we keep that acknowledgement in terms of excuses, that's because my mother was that way. That's because I didn't eat right. That's because blah, blah, blah. We are not at full ownership. Full ownership means, yes, I do have a part of being vicious. For most of us, that would be something we would try to hide. But when we really know it's there, then the first thing and the first step toward our freedom is to let that see the light of day. And then we can move toward it transforming into other energy, which I will show you later. All right. Now, the owner of these parts, you can see how all this pinching that's going on, if he tries to act as though it isn't there, he's off balance, he's got to be scared, because these are not acknowledged parts of him. And those, the unacknowledged and present parts, are what give us all the trouble. Okay. Now, let's take a look over here. Ayana, will you bring your parts here? Take a look at what you did. Robert, will you be standing up for God and everybody to see, because it's nice to be affectionate. And Edwin, would you stand up, very nice, for God and everybody to see, because it's nice to be sensitive. Forget for the moment that I've asked these people to notice that these can be both negative and positive. We're starting out. That's also a step towards seeing that whatever trait you have can be used differently. All right, Ronald, negative. Jim, negative, down. That's good, down. And Oliver, negative. And Plato, positive. All right. Now get as close together as you can. Now will all the rest of the standing parts sit on those parts and try to hide them from existence, all those. Watch their back so you don't hurt them. All right. Now, Yana, I'm going to add a piece here. These are all your parts at this moment in time. Now, will those of you that are on the bottom, again, move and pinch. And those that are on the top, try to stay where you are. Now, would you, at this moment in time, just say what you're feeling as you're seeing this act of, hopefully, love go on in your life? What are you feeling?
I feel frightened and anxious and really unsettled.
Okay, all right. Now, did you notice that how he got out, he went out of that? Remember who he was? What were you feeling when you left? You weren't feeling what you came in before. What were you feeling?
I felt like hitting him in the head.
That's right. He turned now into aggression. That's right. And what did you feel like to let yourself out of there?
I wanted to get off. I was beginning to get agitated.
Agitated, okay. Now then, what was once the lovingness is turned now into aggression, and what was once such brilliance is now turning into agitation. Mm-hmm. And these down here don't seem to have moved much. So we would know that this would be a little tougher thing.
Yes.
And this is like in a person. When a person has all this strong feeling, I've got to be good. No matter what's there, I got to be good. And that is so weak and so thin that it very easily turns, quote, that goodness into some horror. Anyway, so that's just a little picture of that one. Because one of the things for me is that it's important to bring energy together that is going toward making more wholeness in the world. And so that's part of what this is about, the kind of training that I'm dealing with.